A young businessman who went on a trip to Spain with his family faces a scary situation where his family gets kidnapped. He finds out that his father, who is now an art critic, used to be a CIA agent. Keep watching to know if he can save his family. Will Shaw, a young businessman, went to Spain for a holiday with his family. His father, Martin, who was a respected art critic, met him at the airport even though their relationship was not great. As they headed to the yacht, they argued because Will kept checking his phone. When they reached the dock, Will's mother, Lori, welcomed them and the family set off to sea, hoping for a relaxing trip. During dinner, Will kept answering phone calls, which annoyed his father. Will finally confessed that his company had gone bankrupt just a few hours before. The next day, Martin took the yacht out into the sea, trying to spend time with his sons. But Will's constant attention to his phone caused an accident, hurting Dara, who was Will's brother Josh's girlfriend. Angry, Martin threw Will's phone into the sea, telling him to deal with his problems later. Will then went to town to take a break. Meanwhile, Martin became suspicious of a strange boat that had been following them since the morning. When Will returned, he noticed their yacht was missing. He asked local fishermen and tourists for help, but no one could give him any answers. He found the yacht at an lagoon, but it was deserted. A feeling of fear washed over him as he realized something bad had happened to his family. He ran to the police station, but no one listened to him at first. When he mentioned his last name, they suddenly took him seriously and rushed into action. As it got dark, Will and the police arrived at the yacht. Will noticed the police officers acting strangely and saw a mysterious person waiting for him. Feeling something was wrong, Will tried to escape from the police and hid in their car. The officers quickly caught him, and a fight broke out. The situation could have gotten worse, but Martin arrived just in time to stop it. Martin quickly pulled his son away from the fight and told him that he was not just an art critic, but had been a CIA agent for many years. He revealed that their family had been kidnapped because of a missing CIA item. Martin's phone rang, and it was someone named Carrick, who wanted to meet even though it was late. Before going, they stopped at a hidden apartment that belonged to Will, where Martin shocked him by showing several guns. Before meeting Carrick, Martin recorded a message for someone named Diego. Meanwhile, at a different location, a sniper got ready with a rifle, waiting for Martin to visit there. Martin told Will that Carrick was on their side, but he insisted that he stay in the car and avoid any danger. Martin met with Carrick, telling her to give back the stolen suitcase to the people who took his family. Carrick agreed to think about it, but when Martin returned to the car, the sniper shot at him. Will was surprised and saw that his father fell on the ground. He grabbed his father's phone and gun and ran away. When he answered the ringing phone, he heard the kidnappers calling his father Tom. He didn't have time to understand this mystery, as he got caught in a gunfight, which resulted in a police officer being killed and a police chase after him. He found a temporary refuge in a public restroom and tried to think about what to do next. He decided to ask for help at the embassy, which involved taking down a guard. However, his talk with the special agent didn't help. The embassy said they had no records of Martin Shaw working there. They also told him he was charged with murdering a police officer, and that the only help they could offer was an independent lawyer. After a phone call, the lawyer changed his attitude and asked Will to meet someone downstairs. Jean Carrick, a mercenary, was waiting for him and invited him into her car. To calm any doubts, she shared private details about Will's childhood that only someone very close to his father would know. She openly admitted that she had a hand in Martin's death, but claimed she did it because Martin planned to betray her. Carrick's questions upset Will, so he pretended to be sick and saw this as a chance to escape. To avoid being seen by the police, Will asked a stranger for help, who paid for his bus fare, letting him rest for a moment. Martin's phone rang again, with the kidnappers reminding him about the important suitcase and making sure they still wanted it. They threatened that if they did not get it, Will's family would be in danger. Will looked at the call log and saw Diego's number. Martin had called him many times, so Will decided to ask Diego for help. He went to the address he found, but was met by an assassin waiting for him. Once more, Will had to defend himself and protect a girl named Lucia. He told her that her uncle Diego was in danger, and they headed toward Diego's home. When they arrived, they found Diego, who was a good friend of Martin's, dead. In the apartment, they heard voices that turned out to be Carrick and her loyal helper. They were talking about Will and planning to kill him, so Will stepped in and held them at gunpoint. He tried to get information about his family's kidnapping, but Lucia got angry and interrupted him, letting Carrick grab a gun. They had to escape through the roof and climb down to avoid being caught. After landing hard, local people helped Will as he continued to run from Carrick. She kept trying to kill Will because she thought he was an unwanted witness, but she never succeeded. Lucia saw that Will had been shot and took him to a friend's art studio. Will felt too much pain and passed out, but Lucia and her friend managed to treat his wound. When he woke up, Lucia wanted to know what kind of trouble Will had brought her into. She was surprised to see a photo of Will's father and said she knew Tom, confused about why Will called him Martin. Will thought that Lucia might have been his father's lover, but Lucia explained that Martin was her father, born from an affair with her mother. Will asked his newfound sister to come with him to meet his family's kidnappers, and wanted to learn more about their father's secret life on the way. Lucia did not want to go with him because it was too dangerous, but gave him the address of a club where he could find her after meeting the kidnappers. At the club, a man pretending to be a tourist came up to Will and told him to follow. Will passed out during the car ride, and when he woke up, he found himself in the room where his family was being held. The leader of the kidnappers told him they wanted the suitcase that was now with Carrick. He promised Will that if he helped them find Carrick and get the suitcase, his family would be released. If Will did not help, they would hurt his family because Carrick would kill the Shaws to get rid of any witnesses. After that, Will was dropped off on the edge of the city and made his way to the club where Lucia was waiting for him. At the entrance, he faced problems with the security guards, but when he mentioned he was there to see Lucia, they let him in right away. Will told Lucia and her friends about the kidnappers' plan. He would act as a decoy to lead the criminals to Carrick. Determined to get revenge for Diego's death and help Lucia's new family, the group promised to support Will in his risky mission. The young men carefully used a credit card, knowing that Carrick would quickly find them through its use. Soon enough, one of Carrick's men showed up at the club, where Lucia's friends kindly invited him to talk. Will also joined the conversation and successfully got the important information from the bodyguard. After finishing the talk, Will told his friends to let the henchman escape so he could follow him and hopefully find Carrick. Luckily for Will, the henchman led him to an underground parking area where the suitcase exchange was supposed to happen. They were joined by gang members who also wanted to get the suitcase. One of the gang members quietly got into Lucia's car to let her know they were on the same side. Another tried to convince Will to leave for his safety, but he stayed firm until he learned where his family was. Their loud argument accidentally created a scene, catching Carrick's attention. After taking out her team, she grabbed the suitcase and tried to run, starting a fierce gunfight. At one point, Will could have taken the suitcase back, but he chose to save Lucia first and deal with the henchman. This gave Carrick a chance to recover the suitcase and escape. Will chased Carrick through the city, causing a lot of damage along the way. After a long pursuit, he tried to crash into her car, but Carrick skillfully dodged him, and they crashed through a glass window. In a panic, Carrick fired at random people. Suddenly, a shot rang out at Carrick, catching her off guard. Will saw several armed men arrive, including the main kidnapper of his family. They quickly took the young men and the suitcase, leaving Carrick's lifeless body behind just before the police arrived. Will was taken to where his family was hiding. On the way, the gang leader praised Martin's amazing skills as an agent and said how proud he would have been of his son. Outside the hospital, Will met a secret agent who gave him his documents and suggested that he take over his father's role in the CIA. Will kindly refused the offer but asked about what was in the briefcase. Sadly, no one told him this secret information. Will told Josh about Lucia and suggested he meet his new sister. Lori stayed at Lucia's side to give her a sense of family and keep her from feeling alone. The movie ended here.